This is Aaron Levine, LG Insurance, with another episode of the And Insurance Podcast. We're going to get to the insurance at some point today, maybe the P&C stuff, maybe some title stuff. I'm here with my good friend Ryan Curran. We're going to call it Curran Holding Company or Holding Corporation or Curran Holdings. Like, what is it? That's like a fancy name for like something. Give me a little bit about why we're calling you Curran Holdings right now.
So Curran Holding is the parent holding company of all of the, I guess, subsidiary companies. So it just holds Curran Group Real Estate Services, Curran Commercial, Smart Title Insurance, and Curran Property Group. So there's 4 different operating companies beneath.
I'm happy to have been able to nail you down with all those entities and all the work that you do, because I know you are constantly running, 100 miles a minute, and glad to connect and talk a little bit about what you have going on and how we can definitely, share your journey and what it is you're working towards, right? So give me a little bit of background. How did you get into the real estate game and then decide to go into the title game, and, where's your focus and where's your business going?
I initially didn't really have any plan of going into real estate, which is an interesting story in itself. We don't have enough time to dig in all the way, but I had a couple bugs on my windshield from when I was a youth, and I had a hard time getting licensure in certain industries.
Okay.
And real estate just happened to be one that was acceptable. So
that's great.
I got licensed.
I kind of want to go back into.
Yeah, that's a good story.
Some good stories there.
That's a good story. But I got licensed in 2008, which was when the world blew up. And the product that we were trying to sell, I got introduced actually through an insurance guy and a guy that was more of just a residential property management, and they own a bunch of units out in Ohio. They came up with an idea to go into the distress market,
okay,
and find banks that were having trouble holding on to all of their banknotes,
okay,
and package them up and sell them to either other institutions for cents on the dollar or high net worth individuals. Hedge funds were starting to pop up specific to the distress asset class at that point. So essentially we were kind of starting to broker that stuff. Mm-hmm. And one day someone had the brilliant idea, like, what if the regulatory agencies come and knock on our door? Wouldn't it be nice to hold a real estate license up and say, well, at least we have this? So that's kind of where it started.
Okay.
That industry for us on the broker side, we did some good damage from like 2008 to 2010. And then I think the BlackRocks and the Blackstones of the world kind of figured out, they capitalized and they started attacking this, and There was no more need for, the broker.
Okay.
They just kind of said, hey, we're here and we'll buy everything. And people are like, see you later. Which at that point, I just went into the regular residential side of business, mm-hmm. Which I just instantly took to. I have a huge network. I've worked at country clubs and bars and all that type of stuff. I've been very social my entire life. So it came pretty easy for me because of my network. But it didn't excite me. Right. I was good at it. It put food on my table. I knew that I wanted to take a bigger swing at something else, and that kind of just morphed into where we are today. So Curran Group Real Estate Services is a residential brokerage. We're kind of somewhere in between, these new age cloud-based brokerages and like the old traditional brick and mortar. I tried to take as much from each business model as possible. I still think that having brick and mortar is important. I don't think it needs to be on every street corner in America. So I kind of spaced myself out a little bit more, but then I included all of the new tech, prop tech stuff and all that.
Real estate is just like the insurance business. It's all about the people, the relationships, the network effect that we can create, that you can help your agents create. I held a real estate license in 2006 till I let it lapse because I didn't feel like paying the $400 a year to keep it active. But I hated doing real estate. It was not for me at all. Even though I like people and I'm still in a people business, but I just did not like working with certain sets of licensed individuals. If you are picking up what I'm putting down,
I am.
on that piece of it. But, I love working with realtors and real estate professionals and builders and developers on their insurance and risk management programs. I just don't like being on the on the sales side of it. And we've interviewed probably a dozen different types and different people that are real estate professionals in one way, shape, or form here.
Sure.
Because we love following trends. We love seeing what's going on in the industry and the economics of it, and following real estate. Because the best time for me to insure something is when somebody is buying something.
Right.
It's much easier for me to do it from the ground up as opposed to trying to take over a relationship that's already existing, unless something really goes wrong.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Being in the door from the beginning. So you started your real estate business, right? You probably had your license for a little bit, then you decided to open up your own brokerage and go for broke, start bringing on agents, and you've continued to expand that, right? So now you have commercial and you also have a title agency. So get into this. Why title? Why would you open up a title agency?
I think it's pretty simple. So my margins on the residential side get squished every day between consumer wants and needs, and then I guess on the agent side, everybody wants more commission on the agent side,
Sure.
and consumers want us to accept less.
Right.
So my margins get really squeezed there. As you know, insurance has set regulatory premiums, and it's very much something that becomes a non-negotiable, which is nice. So it's a great ancillary business.
Right. My commissions are paid by the insurance company.
Correct.
In most cases, there are other times where we will fee our work. But we just had a carrier. I got the email this morning. They cut our commission, which was at 12% 6 months ago and is now down to 5%. So they're basically telling me, we don't want to write any more business in the state of New Jersey. Do whatever you can do. We don't want to pay you anymore, but we have to pay you something. And they're going to keep taking it down to as low as they can possibly take it without getting into trouble with the Department of Banking.
Isn't that nice?
So we're feeling the squeeze as well on a lot of it. But that's not even something that I, really want to get into right now. But so keep going into, developing into title.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's similar to what, to piggyback off what you were saying, like you like to get, the business first before it's already established and this and that. So my whole company, all of them are based pretty much upon that mantra. That's why I didn't stick with a bigger brokerage house shingle, right? It's like, I like to kind of go where the money is and get there first and do my damage and then see where it's going next and get out. To answer your question, the title insurance side, that's kind of the most steady and solid business. I don't really need to chase that much because every time someone buys a house is the new relationship somewhere.
And it's not shopped like, homeowners insurance is shopped. Most of it is referred by
it's more business to business
agent or the attorney.
It's very much driven by either the attorney or the realtor, which I like that a lot. I staff myself like excellently. So we try to get a lot of commercial business, which the premiums are much better. The projects are just much bigger puzzles to put together. Therefore, you need to have much more talented back office. Which like I put together like an amazing back office. I have one of my title officers, underwrote the Revel Casino building when that was being constructed. I don't know if there's a more challenging project than that on many aspects. So like we have the capability internally, even though we're a very small shop. Like we've done some tremendous projects. We did some projects with Rockefeller. We've done some stuff with Core 5, which is like that. It's a subsidiary of this company Kajima, which is like a Japanese sovereign wealth fund. It's the wealthiest people in Japan put their money together. So like we've had some very, very well-known, household names come to us, and we've performed, which is great. So like we've put together a really, really good team that can not only go after that larger commercial business, but then what keeps the lights on is the residential side. So I have great salespeople that have great relationships with, realtors and attorneys, and they go and network with guys like yourself,
Right.
and just try to keep meeting people and establishing those relationships so that we can be the first ones in the door when given the opportunity.
Right. So the residential side, even on the brokerage, right, is you're steady, right? That's your steady is residential real
That's
estate.
very steady. Yeah.
Keeping your agents working regardless of whatever splits are going on and how that business is operating. That's your steady,
Yes.
right? And it seems like the larger commercial is kind of more your passion.
So my personal passion is the business ownership and driving the companies, and then I use this word. People that know me and see how I work think I'm a crazy person, but
You are.
my free time, which is like my 25th and 26th hour of the day, I spend doing industrial warehousing, which I love it.
Right.
What's great about that is that, like, I mean, there's sites that we've put under development that, like, I don't see them for months after they're under contract. Everything I do is in the cockpit, at my computer station, satellites, internet. Like, I don't need to drive around, looking for stuff. I do it all overhead. So it allows my time management to keep me where I need to be in order to not drop the ball running my office. Because I think I have like 60 plus or minus people under management that I am obviously the boss of. And, I don't have 60 people by accident. Like, they stay there and they're happy and they don't leave because they get the attention that they need. Right. So, like, if I was out, doing crazy shit all day long, I probably wouldn't have 60 people.
Says a guy who was just in Key West. I think he just bagged a nice big turkey on some farm while he was hunting. I mean, do you ever sleep?
I have a Microsoft Surface Pro. I bring it, and a hotspot. I don't sleep much now.
I'm guilty, right? I mean, I don't have my phone in my pocket because it would be going off right now. But wherever my phone goes, I am always working. Even when I was in the Bahamas a couple of weeks ago, I unfortunately was still connected the entire day, and that's the beauty of technology today, right?
Yeah,
that's a trade-off of technology today, because it's also a pain in the ass. It's not beautiful because we're tethered to it, and everybody knows we're tethered to it.
They sure do.
So don't leave me a voicemail. You're going to send me a text message, and I'm going to see it on my wrist, but I'm not wearing my watch either, because that's something I take off when we're getting on camera, because I'm trying my best not to be distracted, right? Otherwise, we're just looking the whole time. Like, even we're on the golf course, the first phone call just throws the whole swing away for the entire day. So, it's just one of those things that good, bad, indifferent, ugly, it's just what it is, and it allows us the freedom to be tethered and go about operating our businesses the way that we do. So I love it. So where are we in industrial and large commercial right now, right? There was the Amazon effect, that Amazon was buying every buildable piece of dirt in the entire United States, right? Now I think Amazon has started to slow down, but on that industrial side of the business, it's still picking up speed, right?
Yeah, so that's where our journey started. It was like an act of God or something. It was crazy. Like, I got introduced to this big site down in Carneys Point, New Jersey, and it was right on the turnpike. And me and a buddy of mine, who's a commercial appraiser, went down there just to look at it. And, like, we got out of the car and looked over the hood at each other and was like, holy shit, like, this is an Amazon site. And Amazon is never really the buyer. They're usually a tenant. So it's completely speculative.
Got it.
And today, years later, there's the biggest Amazon fulfillment center in the state of New Jersey on that piece of property, which is bananas.
Right.
So they made some announcement that they're kind of out of the market, which probably half true, I think. I'm sure if you brought them a site in Newark, New Jersey, they'd probably buy it or whatever, lease it, tomorrow. Okay. I think half of it, this is just my opinion. I personally believe that they were their biggest competitor, and they were driving rents so fast and furiously that maybe they pumped the brakes a little bit to kind of check the rent increase things. So it's like, now we're not competing against ourselves anymore a little bit. The other part, I think, when you go into some secondary and tertiary type of markets, they're probably slowing down, regrouping. I mean, them just like anybody else, when COVID hit, I mean, Amazon was slowly but surely killing retail, and that was
Right.
like a silver bullet to the back of the head, right?
Sure.
So like they were just like I have been on that side of my business. I was running 1,000 miles an hour for the
Right.
last 4 years or whatever, 5 years. Same with them. I think they're just kind of like, all right, let's come up for air,
Right.
regroup. Let's like sit down and actually analyze all this stuff, and then we'll start plowing forward. But I mean, it doesn't mean that anyone that wants to compete with them needs to kind of rinse, wash, repeat, right?
Right.
So like now the Targets, the Walmarts, Bed Bath and Beyonds, Burlington Coat Factory, all these bigger Macy's, all these bigger players that want to survive retail are now backing into this e-commerce thing. And Amazon's kind of the litmus test, right? It's like, well, if Amazon's there, we need to go there.
Right.
Right.
Look at Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble had the opportunity to do what Amazon did early on with the online book selling.
Correct.
And Barnes & Noble chose to stay a brick and mortar operation. And unfortunately, we have one Barnes & Noble near us that's downsizing, but I can't tell you the last time I was in that bookstore.
Right.
I used to like to go, but now I just don't have time to go anywhere. Same with Bed Bath & Beyond, man. Going to college, getting your first apartment, buying your first house, all the things. You used to get the 20% coupons in the mail, stack them up, and go on a shopping spree and get your 20% off of everything that you buy. And now the one here in Eatontown, I think, just closed, or the shelves are almost empty enough for them to lock the doors.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to see some of that stuff, especially when it's a little bit nostalgic, when you were buying stuff, disposable furniture and storage bins from Bed Bath & Beyond to go to college or furnish your first house. It's wild. Now we just click and it shows up the next day. We don't even have to worry about it.
It's unbelievable, yeah. And half those places, and I'm guilty of it, if I do go there, I'll go there, see what I want, shop it online, find it for $100 cheaper, and it shows up tomorrow. And like, what do I care? I just put $100 more in my kid's mouth. You know what I mean? Like, it's stupid not to do that. So
you have to be careful though, right? So I hate the fact that this turned into a whole Amazon conversation, but shopping on Amazon has its issues because it's a race to the bottom for pricing, which means quality is a race to the bottom. So understanding what you're buying, depending on the category that you're buying it in, makes a huge difference because it's a race to the bottom and things are just getting cheaper and cheaper.
Well, I think yes and no, though, because part of the reason why stuff is so expensive is because Macy's has a $120 per foot lease in downtown Manhattan, right? But when they back into a warehouse and it's $20 a foot and it's scaled, not only are they saving on all the labor that they really don't need anymore, the overhead of space in retail is bananas, right? So I think as margins get eliminated, they're getting rid of their very expensive leases and probably some additional staff, and they're backing out into this more efficient model. I think they can keep a lot of the quality on the savings there too. So that's it's true probably to some extent, but I think their bottom lines are getting corrected by coming back into this warehousing space, which is why the boom is as big as it is. Right. It just makes so much sense for everybody.
For everybody.
Yeah.
So where are you taking your business next? I know you're about to open up another office in Bordentown, New Jersey, wherever Bordentown, New Jersey is.
Yes.
Right. You're a couple of weeks away from hanging your shingle, so to speak, on that building and setting up shop out there.
Yeah. So we're really excited about that. I really am inching towards Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia market. And that was a great place for us to start because Bucks County, PA is kind of right across the bridge, New Hope. And there's a lot of really, really good communities right across the Delaware River there. So, and some of my agents that I've been targeting, recruiting, do business in a little bit of both. And we are licensed in Pennsylvania as well. So it's kind of a good spot to kind of wet my whistle. I also see a lot of similar to what happened with the industrial boom, from kind of Camden County, Burlington County, Gloucester County, Salem County, that whole pocket along 295. There's a tremendous amount of farmland. Farmers, unfortunately, in New Jersey are having a hard time competing with national guys that have just tens of thousands of acres rather than hundreds of acres. So they're kind of slowly getting out of the business. There's a lot of land to sell there. I think there's a lot of new development for the residential side. So I'm kind of going west and south with my business model, and I'm in a funky spot, which is great. I'm very happy with where I'm at. But on the residential side, this plays off the question you asked earlier, the margins, whatever, good. When you're very small, they're good. Mm-hmm. When you're where I am right now in scaling, they're like, if I break even, I'm thrilled, which is great.
Right.
But that's unfortunately, it's a growing pain of scaling. So like in order to scale, I have to really, kind of put my foot on the gas and get through, I don't want to say tough times, but I have to just be very careful and selective. Mm-hmm. I think the timing is great because the market was kind of peaked out. And now that we're hopefully at somewhere at a comfortable quote unquote bottom, even though we haven't really crashed or anything like that.
Right.
I think now it's a time for me to step on the gas and start. It's a little bit easier finding talented people. And I think that I don't know, we're starting to get some market share in areas just by doing stuff like this, social media, being a little bit more on the forefront of tech, and I don't know, we're just like a more, I don't want to use the word youthful because that might trigger my EPLI insurance, but we like to stay more modern, Right. So that's been something a lot of my competitors I don't think are great at.
Sure.
So we've been trying to just kind of slowly inch our way out that way and scale up, and
right.
Hopefully we'll have.
I think
5 or 10.
Timing is good, right? Because I read an article recently, whether it was true or false, that there is a record number of real estate licenses being surrendered at this point because of the inventory market that we've been in the last couple of years, right? Everybody and their mother got their real estate license in 2020 because all you had to do was say, I'm a realtor, and you made money.
Right.
Right. Life was good and for those few years. And then as the inventory struggles started, people are, even seasoned agents that I know have had some difficult times in the last couple of years. The ebbs and flows have been a little bit greater than what a steady business model typically would look like for a seasoned professional real estate agent. So it's very interesting. And so timing is good that solid professionals are in it for lifetime, right? They can weather this storm. Hopefully they save some shekels to be able to do so. So it's a great time to ramp up and build to see where we go with the real estate economy, in the next 6 months to 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, no, I agreed. So many people are leaving the industry, which I think is great.
Sure.
And it was challenging for, your more career oriented or whatever, your seasoned veterans, because business was falling out of the sky. The art of having to go and put your hands in the dirt and reaching out to your sphere, doing your social media posts, doing your mailers, doing your CRM, all that stuff was first of all, a lot of people were just too busy probably to do it, but it was, you were cherry picking. Now it's this is where the strong survive. This is where people that don't forget how they got to where they were and can get themselves back in that gear, which is sometimes tough. I find it tough myself sometimes, because I know what I did to get to where I am. And sometimes it's man, do I really want to go back there? But you got to just grind it out and dig deep and get back there and do it. But that's where the veteran people are starting to, they don't forget that. They did it already.
They did it, but they have to dig and find the passion that originally drove them to be able to do that, right?
Right.
The good agents stuck to their CRM, stuck to their mailers, did everything even when the market was as hot as it was in 2020, 2021. They stuck to their business plan.
Right.
And now are reaping the benefit of sticking to that business plan, right? So moral of the story is sticking to your guns and continuing to work even if things may be easy is going to make it easier for you in these hard times. And that's one of the reasons I also did not do well or like real estate, because I got into it at 2006 when things were really, really hot, and it crashed very, very quickly.
Awful.
So I went into bad times very quick, and I'm like, this sucks. Get me out of here. I want nothing to do with it.
Right.
I'm like, I'm going to go sell insurance because it's a commodity business. Everybody needs it. Nobody's buying real estate right now, but everybody needs an insurance policy, whether it's a home business or auto insurance. I can get into a commodity business. Mm-hmm. And that's what I did. During graduate school, I got into the commodity business of selling insurance products. Mm-hmm. I don't treat it as a commodity anymore, but I know the bottom the bottom line of what I do is somebody is requiring you at some point
Right.
to buy this product, whether it's your landlord, the government, or some other entity is
Right.
forcing your bank is requiring this piece of paper.
Yeah, and that's a big reason why I got into title as well. Like it's a huge hedge
Right.
against the other things I do. I'm pretty well, I guess, diversified, even though it's all real estate. But like the residential, it is, like you said, it kind of just puts food on the table. I love it. I love driving it. I love seeing my agents succeed. That's not where we're getting rich fast. That's a long, slow moving animal. The insurance is just what you just said. Like, somebody needs this, right? It's a great hedge against, well, if this starts to die down a little bit, I can still stay in my lane here and capitalize on that. And then the commercial, I just have to find where the money is and follow it, right? And that's where, like, we just hit home runs there. Low hanging fruit, find the money, target it, build the relationships, be yourself. I do great because I'm myself. I don't show up and pretend to be someone I'm not. I'm not like a big, although I did have a tuxedo on Saturday, I'm not a big shirt and tie guy. I go out just the way I am, and I build real relationships. A lot of commercial
Fancy guys wearing a Due Process golf shirt, if you couldn't pick that up from the video.
I got that from carrying golf bags.
He earned that shirt.
I did earn that
and he
shirt.
earned the network that he got
That's
from
correct.
carrying golf bags
That's
around
right.
that golf course, right? So great lesson for anybody young that's going to pick this up is go carry the golf bag, because you never know who you're going to be carrying for. And that's a great way to start building your network as a young person into adulthood, right? Building a business, it's a great way. Bartending is one, not great for everybody. But carrying a golf bag, you build a great network.
I've done so much business out of that, and like, I'll get a little bit into my story, which goes back into the bugs on the windshield comment that I made. So in 2006, 2008, I kind of burned my life to the ground. I had major alcoholism and substance abuse problems, and I got in quite a bit of trouble. And that's kind of where I landed, was at country clubs as an adult. I was in my early 20s through about age 30. I was still carrying golf clubs when I started my company, just to make sure that, just in case rent came and I needed more money, I had it. But I was always honest with all the men and women I met there. Same thing. I formed real relationships. They saw my progress. The guy's doing good. He cares about his life. He's hustling. He is responsive. He's never late. He's working like an animal twice a day, 7 days, 8 days a week.
Right.
And, a lot of those type of people, which are very successful people, it's very rare that you meet someone who's not successful at a country club, fell in love with my story, right? And I was real with them. They liked the picture that I was painting. So then they were like, you know what, I'm going to support this guy's business. When I got into doing stuff, and I still have, I would call them friendships now. They're not just relationships from the years and years and years that I did stuff like that, because there were real relationships. Right. It wasn't like, if you don't give me business, I'm just going to hit you with my CRM every quarter. Like, we're buddies. I still call them and we shoot the shit and talk about politics and marriage and everything else that we talk about when we're not on podcasts.
I stay out of the politic conversation regardless of where I am. Kids, I can complain about my kids anytime.
Yeah.
Talk about golf, talk about business, talk about other stuff. Politics, I just can't. And I can't even turn on the television. I don't watch any news. Like, I don't read a newspaper. I stay far away from it because I just don't want it to affect my life. Yeah. I'm just going to operate as me, do what I'm going to do, create my own news here, doing podcasts and, following trends in our industry and trends with guys like you, and figure out where we're going to continue to develop. Like, I learn something every time I sit behind this microphone with a guest. I'm always learning.
Sure.
I'm out there to learn something new, figure out how to get better at my trade. I'm not going to carry a golf bag. I'm going to, hope the next kid that's carrying my golf bag is going to want to learn from me.
Sure.
Right? Because that's cool to be able to share knowledge. And I hope that, I'm sharing with you the same way. So you being, open enough to share a little bit of your story, I think is great. I think your business has grown tremendously over the last couple of years in a short time. and being where you are in business, right, in the 14-year mark, 15-year mark, that's a tough place to be, right?
Yeah.
You hit a little bit of a plateau, and you've got to just grind yourself through it to get yourself to the next level. And once you open up that new office, I think that brings some new motivation, get some new agents running out of there. While you're chasing the big stuff, you're keeping the lights on with the residential piece and the title company. I think it's awesome, everything that you've been able to accomplish. And, I like being along for the ride, so I'm here for it.
Yeah, I appreciate that. I can't say enough about, shout out to LG. You guys have been great. We had some trauma with other insurance agencies, I should say. And no, you guys have been great. And same, it's all about networking, forming friendships, being at the 15-year mark. I love it. I have a chip on my shoulder. I have been in position where someone with a lot more wisdom about life explained to me, just because you were sleeping on people's couches doesn't mean you weren't homeless type of situations where I've seen some pretty low bottoms in my life. And from that experience, I'm not afraid to go after, companies that are much more bigger, much more established than me. I mean, we throw it up on the residential side is kind of anybody, in my opinion, that puts their head down and grinds it out can do it. The commercial side, I mean, we're dealing with titans that have way more money than me, that have way more relationships than me. And we get in there and we take the gloves off and we fight.
Right.
And we've done awesome. And I think I would like to give myself a good tap on the back. I think I'm a good leader. And I do my best to make sure that when my agents get put in positions where, oh, who are you guys? And you guys are little. We go in there and we know what we're doing. Right. We're very good at what we do, and we win the respect of people because we've earned it, right. The hard way. But I love grinding it out. I do have a chip on my shoulder, and that's part of what motivates me. So 15 years in, I'm just getting started. I would like to not have to work.
Goosebumps when he says that.
I would not have to work my whole life, and I got a little jealous about something you said to me, which we'll keep confidential, on the golf course last week. But at some point, I would like to exit, but I'd like to do it my way. Yeah. But I'm still I'm just getting going.
I mean, that's it. Ryan Curran, Curran Holdings Corporation, residential real estate, commercial real estate, smart title. Onward and upward, Spring Lake, New Jersey, soon to be in Bordentown, New Jersey. If you're looking for a new home to hang your real estate license, look out for this guy, because it seems like between the tech and the relationships, he's going to help you build your business and bring it to a whole nother level. You give me the confidence, when you're out networking with these larger corporations. I'm like, maybe they're a little too big for me, but you know what? I gotta put my gloves on and my big boy pants, and
they're just people too.
They're just people too, and I have the skill set and the risk management tools to be able to work with companies of that size. So
yeah,
why not go after it? So
yeah.
Again, thank you, Ryan, for joining me today on the podcast. I can't wait to get this one out there, and I think we're gonna have to do a part 2 at some point.
Yeah,
it'd be good.
That was great.
Thanks, bro.
Yeah, thank you.